Time for the tracks of my years. They're chosen this week by Kelly Clarkson.
88 to 91 FM.
And it's Passengers with U2 and Luciano Pavarotti and Miss Sarajevo first.
BBC Radio 2.
The first time I heard Miss Sarajevo, I fell in love with it just because, first of all, obviously everybody's a U2 fan, but I'm also a big Pavarotti fan. I grew up singing classical music, so as a child, like whenever you're growing up singing that in like junior high, you don't really want to sing opera, you know, you want to sing fun stuff, and he was one of the few people I liked, he and Andrea Bocelli, so I think just the fact that those are two very different worlds colliding.
These things don't often work, do they?
No, you'd think that, I mean, on paper, that looks kind of like a train wreck, and then you hear it, and it sounds so beautiful. And I think why it works is because they're so passionate, both of those vocalists, and even the Edge, the rest of the band, like they're just passionate players and really love music.
And they're not overwhelmed by the other person, are they?
No, it fits very nicely. That's why I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, your next choice is our very own Adele.
I am obsessed with her. I think a lot of people are. Ever since I heard her first record, I've just been in love with her, and I've always loved the Bob Dylan song that she covered, To Make You Feel My Love. Few vocalists can deliver a song like her. I don't know, just the believability factor, just the simpleness that comes with her. Like, there's no fireworks or anything. It's just beautiful music. It's very rare that the vocalist can keep people captivated without all the jazz going on. So I've just been a huge fan of hers, and I love that song. I love that cover.
When the rain...
Adele and Make You Feel My Love. Chosen by Kelly Clarkson. Interesting choices all week from her. Hear more tomorrow. And time for the tracks of my years. They're chosen this week by Kelly Clarkson.
88 to 91 FM.
And Kelly's first choice today is Annie Lennox, her recording of Why.
The first time I heard Why, it made me, I think, different as a writer. It made me a little more vulnerable, and that whole record is great. But I think the part that I love about Why is usually in pop music, there's like the verse, the chorus, the verse, the bridge, the chorus, you know, so it's usually very formulaic, and that song is the opposite. The fact that she got away with that, and it's one of the most massively popular songs ever, is very telling of just how talented she is as an artist and a writer. She's an amazing vocalist, but the fact that she can just write something so telling of the human soul and have that be really relatable, I hope I can write a song like that one day.
It's a very, very moving and beautiful song.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so great.
You will write it if you haven't written it already.
I hope I write one like that one day.
Journey and Open Arms is your next choice.
I think my parents listened to Journey growing up, so I was always surrounded by Chicago and Journey and all those bands, and that song just really stood out for me because, I mean, his vocals, I mean, are you kidding me? I don't know about everybody else, but I'm usually highly captivated by a woman vocalist, but it's very hard for a man to keep my attention, and his vocals are just so great, and they soar in that song, and I've covered the song a lot since I was a kid, and it's just very much a singer song. I just love the song.
How influenced have you been by tastes of your family in growing up?
Well, I'm the youngest in my family, so I kind of have absorbed like everyone's taste. My brother was really into Guns N' Roses and Madonna and all that kind of stuff. My sister was really into like the indie kind of bands. She's always been very indie. My mom was really into Linda Ronstadt and the Patsy Cline, and my stepdad was all about Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson. So I kind of took from everybody. Yeah,
you get a real meld of
well, I'm the youngest,
styles.
so you're forced to listen to what everybody else is listening to, and then you end up liking it.
But this was your folks' Journey.
Yeah, I think I heard it just from listening to the radio with them.
It's Journey with Open Arms. And it's Kelly Clarkson's choice. She will have more tomorrow. It's 12 now, time for the tracks of my years. Kelly Clarkson is choosing them. And her first choice is Prince with Purple Rain.
Purple Rain is one of the best songs ever. Musically, the song is breathtaking, and Prince, I mean, he's great with the vulnerability factor when it comes to writing lyrics, and the imagery of it is very nice. I've always been into it.
Lots of people in the music business are sort of in awe of Prince. Perhaps even more so than the public are. It's the music business that really finds him outstanding. As
an artist, like looking at someone like Prince, he's not just a singer, he's not just a writer, he's not just a musician, he's not just an actor. He kind of does everything. He's kind of that all-encompassing artist. You know, I think back in the day it was very normal for people to write, sing, dance. Nowadays, it's usually you excel at one or the other. And it's very rare to have an artist that can do all of that. So
You're not often allowed to excel in anything other than one thing. People don't like it if you
Well,
move
people
out,
like
yeah.
you to focus on one so they can make money off of that. Yeah.
Well, he's done it all. Brandy Carlisle and The Story is next.
I first heard Brandy through a friend. They gave me her album. It was a band member, actually, and he gave me the album, and it was The Story, and I flipped out over it. She sounds like, a mixture of like Melissa Etheridge and Bonnie Raitt and Sarah McLachlan, and that song, The Story, is just so well written, and it's right when that part kicks in after the second verse. I don't know, it feels like you're like riding a bike down a hill. Your arms are open and you're just like going for it, and I just think she's a very, very soulful singer, and I'm very attracted to that.
Brandy Carlisle. That's the name I should have taken. If only Equity had let me.
I thought it was a cocktail you often drank.
Brandy
I'll
Carlisle.
have a Brandy Carlisle, please.
Only when I'm in northern climes, of
Oh,
course.
yes, fair
Only in
enough.
the north of England and Scotland. That's good, though. Brandy Carlisle, The Story, chosen by Kelly Clarkson, and she'll have 2 more tomorrow. Tracks of My Years is forthcoming now. Choices this week of Kelly Clarkson, and first today it's Madonna and Live to Tell.
What's great about Madonna is she's always had this capability of going in and out of different genres of music. It's all pop, but there's the more R&B side of her, there's the very pop side of her, there's the dance side of her. And the thing about Live to Tell is I love when a song sounds like a soundtrack, just when you're watching a great scene in a movie and you can escape in it. I love Live to Tell. It's one of my favorite ones. It sounds very dark, but also very vulnerable and sweet. And the fact that you can accomplish all of that in one song, I don't know, I hope I can write a song like that one day. The strings are probably my favorite part, just how they swoop in and out, and the music is just very dark but sweet at the same time. That's why that's my favorite.
Here's a song now that a lot of people rate as one of their really finest recordings. Bonnie Raitt, it's I Can't Make You Love Me.
Yeah, if I could sing like anyone in the world, it would be Bonnie Raitt. She's just got, first of all, such great song selection. Her catalog is amazing. But I Can't Make You Love Me is definitely her standout song. And I think the great thing about that song is it's like the writer like captured the exact feeling of what it's like to be rejected, to be just in a situation, in a relationship where somebody, you love them so much, but they just don't feel the same way for you. And it's like, do you ignore it and just keep going with it and hope they go with it as well? Or do you go, oh, we both deserve better? And I think that's a very hard thing to capture, in a lyric without being cheesy. And her voice is ridiculous. She tells a story so well. It's one of my favorite songs ever.
Oh. Quite lovely. Bonnie Raitt and I Can't Make You Love Me. Chosen by Kelly Clarkson. Her final 2 choices will be tomorrow. Back to My Year's time. And this week they're being chosen by Kelly Clarkson. And it's Mariah Carey first with So Blessed.
I think every girl my age was influenced by Mariah Carey. She's got an angelic voice. And that song, I think, was my favorite. It wasn't a single, but I just think how she soars on that song. Like, she's got this very, bluesy side of her. And I think a lot of times in the beginning of her career, especially, people would try and kind of make her do this same thing over and over and over again, this formulaic thing. And I think the cool thing about So Blessed is she was able to have a pop song, but also you can tell that it's just straight from her heart, and she's a great songwriter. I don't know, I learned a lot from her, like singing from the heart. And I think once she got with the right producers and stuff, then they let her be herself, and she's untouchable.
Now, just before we move on to your last choice, let's find out about your new album, Stronger.
Yeah.
You've been allowed to be yourself on this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think, after 10 years of doing it, people know you more as an artist. Like all the producers, and if I didn't write the song, all the writers that I did work with, they knew me better. And they were able to capture me a little bit better because they've either seen me on tour or heard the previous 4 records. So it's just a lot easier. Sonically, it's my best album. It sounds like I sound live, which is hard in pop because, they tend to over-compress everything. It's just a little soulful, it's a little pop rock, and it's a little singer-songwriter.
That's
So.
where you want to be, what you want to be putting in front of the public just now.
And we named it Stronger just because I feel stronger as a person and I feel stronger as a musician. Yeah.
How about the vocal regime? What do you do to keep the pipes right?
I think it's a lot just getting proper rest, and I think it's after 10 years I can be like, you know what, I can't handle doing this much, so I can handle doing this much, let's work from there. And I think everybody works differently. People will go on tour and they'll do like 4 shows in a row, but they're not singing live. That's a lot easier to do. If I'm singing live, I can't do that. So I tell my agents, you know what, this is what I can do, and let's work with that, and this is how I'm gonna nail it, and if we don't do it this way, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
It's just upsetting your audience. Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and if I paid a ticket to go to a show, it was like hard-earned money, and I don't want to ever suck, in front of an audience. I want them them to go away going, man, that was like a great night for her, like vocally and emotionally. So I tend to do one show on and then one day off, one show on, and just make sure that I'm bringing my best, every night. So, but I think that comes with experience and knowing your limits.
Yeah, but you won't ever go on and do a 90% show. It's got to be 100%
I'm like,
every time.
no, and people used to tell me that in the beginning, like, well, you know what, you can do 3 shows in a row, just don't give it your all every night. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I'm like, what? I'm not going to do that. Telling an artist not to do that is like, I don't know, telling a lawyer not to be a lawyer. Like, I have to give 110 every night.
Good for you. Good for you. Last choice,
Yeah.
the Cranberries and Linger.
I think this was like the first time I ever liked a guy, and it was one of those situations where he knew it, and it's like he wasn't into me, but I was still into him, and I think he would lead me on sometimes. That song like perfectly explained my feelings at the moment whenever I was in high school. So every time I hear that song, it reminds me of that certain situation. It's like anytime you smell a certain smell and it reminds you of someone. But yeah, Linger definitely reminds me of the first guy I ever really liked.
Right,
So.
it's lingered with you ever since then. Kelly,
Yeah.
great to see you. Thanks for choosing us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.